Hello everybody, my name is Elena. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm bringing you my August wrap up, okay? I can't believe it's September. I feel like I say that every single wrap up, but I genuinely can't believe how fast the year has gone. August was a really good reading month for me. I read 12 books and the average rating for the month was a 4.52. So that alone should tell you that I read some pretty good books. I started off the year with a bang because I decided to read Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. This is the second book in the Shepherd King duology. I have a vlog where I read this. It's a part of the finishing series vlog, so I will link it if you want to check it out. But I absolutely adored this book. I adored the first one as well, so it wasn't really a surprise for me that I would like this one. I give this one 5 stars, just like I gave the first book. I love that we got more POVs in this book. My favorite was, again, Elspeth. It always has been, just because I'm obsessed with the kind of dynamic that Elspeth has with the nightmare and that kind of stuff, like that subplot. I guess it's not really a subplot, but like that plot line was personally my favorite. That's what like did it for me in both books. I feel like the ending was perfect. I knew what was coming, and I wasn't mad about it. I felt like that was the proper ending for the series, and it's definitely a comfort series for me, so I will be rereading it. Maybe even soon, who knows, but definitely a reread in the future. Next book I read was, I keep forgetting what it's called, The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan. This is the first book in the Heroes of Olympus series. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was interesting that we were back in the same world but through different characters. I liked the little Percy plotline. If you've read the book, you know what it is. I like that. I thought it was interesting. However, I am losing interest in the series. I don't think I'm going to continue reading the other books. I listened to it on audiobook. It was fine. It just kind of, it's hard for me to enjoy this series, I feel like, because I think I got my fill reading the Percy Jackson series, like the original series, so I don't think I'll continue. Maybe one day. I doubt it, but for now, I'm quite satisfied with what I've read from the Percyverse. Next book I read is also from that video where I continue series, and that is Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. I was kind of scared of reading this book because I've heard a lot of people say they didn't like it, even if they did like the first book, which I loved the first book, gave it 4.75 stars. So I was kind of scared going into this one, so I decided to listen to it on audiobook, and I'm slightly regretting that because that means I don't have any annotations into this book, and I absolutely loved it. I also gave this one 4.75 stars. Genuinely couldn't even tell you which one I preferred more because I like them for different reasons. In this book, we follow Nash, which is Knox from the first book's brother. I think he's technically his older brother. He's the chief of the police station in Nakama, which is this small town. And then we have Lena. She shows up in the first book, like kind of near the middle or near the end, I think, and she's in town for something. Some kind of mission, whatever. It's not really disclosed to anybody else. It does connect to something that happens in the first book, so I can't really tell you about it, but she's there for some kind of mission or reason, and it's kind of the good boy, bad girl trope. I really enjoyed the dynamic between these two characters. I thought they were great together. The chemistry was there. I loved the banter. I honestly love the way that Lucy Score writes banter and just the characters and stuff. And listen, are the books a bit ridiculous? Of course they are. But it's kind of like my brand of ridiculous because I don't go into these books being like, oh my god, I want like a really serious, heart-wrenching story. No, I go into these books to have fun, and that's exactly what they are, and I love them for it. I felt like the only reason why it's not a 5 star is near the end, the climax felt a little Scooby-Doo. So I felt like if it had a bit less comedy on that part, I feel like it could have been a 5 star, but 4.75 stars is still really good. I then proceeded to read one of my favorite books, probably of all time, and to my surprise, it's actually a nonfiction. I know. It's the only nonfiction book that I've read, and I adore it so much. It's a memoir, and it's Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I feel like everyone and their mom at this point has read it, and if you haven't and you're a girl in your 20s, pick it up, okay? Just trust me, pick this book up. It's basically, it's Dolly Alderton's memoir, and I listened to this on audiobook. Highly recommend you also do that because she's the one that narrates it. Whenever people show up in the book and they have a certain accent or whatever, she will do it, and because she's lived through those moments, she knows exactly how they said it in the moment and what tone they used and stuff like that, and it just feels so real because it's her life. She's telling her life story. But there is so much to this book that I adore. I have so many tabs in here. I kept pausing the audiobook to highlight things, tab things. I was sending photos of it constantly in my group chat because a lot of this book is centered around girlhood and female friendships, and I adore those topics because that is something that's really important to me. I have a really good friend group, so it's just something that I love to read about, and I saw a lot of our friend group in this book in certain aspects, maybe not the same, but like really similar, and it just made me feel all warm and fuzzy, and I was sobbing, I was laughing, and I felt empowered by the end of it, which I feel like was the goal of the book. So Dolly Alderton did a phenomenal job. I absolutely adore this, and this is definitely something that I will be coming back to. In case it wasn't obvious, I gave this 5 stars. I also forgot to mention that I actually read my entire August TBR, which is a slay on my part. Next book I read is Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. I give this 4.75 stars. I don't think anyone is shocked that I liked this because I adore Addicted Calloway, I adore Like Us. So obviously I really enjoyed this book. Is it humongous? Yes. The reason why it's actually not a 5-star and it's a 4.75 star is because I felt like it was a bit too long. I know that everyone says, oh my god, Binding 13 and Keeping 13, like they're supposed to be that long. Like it needs every single thing in here. It doesn't need every single thing in here, okay? I felt like it was a bit too long and it could have been a little shorter and then it would have been perfect. The beginning of it does kind of drag, and by beginning of it, because it's a really big book, I mean like the first 300 pages drags a little bit, okay? That's where I feel like some things could have been cut out. The rest of it, really amazing, really fast-paced. Definitely check your trigger warnings if you want to get into this series. Also, it's not a complete series, so there's that as well. Basically, we have Shannon and we have Johnny, and Shannon is really severely bullied. Basically her whole life. It doesn't help that her family situation is horrible because she has an abusive dad, he's an alcoholic and stuff like that. So she's just having not a very nice time her whole entire life. Her mom takes out a loan, sends her to a different high school. First day in the new high school, she meets Johnny because he plays rugby and he sends the rugby ball sailing at her head accidentally. And kind of almost knocks her out, like gives her a concussion. And then he's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And she's like, are you fucking kidding me? And then they kind of strike up this friendship, and it's really sweet, and I love them both. I love the characters in this book. Listen, is the writing the best? No, it's not. Do I adore the characters? Absolutely. And in case you were wondering, my favorite character is Gibbsy. The next 4 books I'm gonna kind of talk about together, and very briefly. Because I don't know what came over me. I really wanted to listen to an audiobook. So I was like, okay, let's see, like maybe a reread could be good because I love rereading books through an audiobook. Do you know what series I never finished? The Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy. I never read The Goal. Because back then I was like, I don't really want to read about the pregnancy trope. I don't care about it now. Like I'll read a book with it if it's in there, like it's fine. I really don't care about it. So I decided to listen to all 4. So I listened to The Deal, The Mistake, The Score, and The Goal. I listened to them in record time, I just want to say. The Goal I listened to in 1 day. A big part of why I'm talking about them together is because I gave them literally the same rating. I gave all 4 books 4.25 stars. Definitely lower for the first 3 than what I gave them the first time. Actually, The Deal, previously I had rated 4 stars and now it's a 4.25 stars, so I did up the rating on that one. I just found it really funny and endearing, and I love Garrett and Hannah, okay? They're so iconic, you know? My favorite has always been The Mistake, which I know is kind of an unpopular opinion. Still don't understand why it's an unpopular opinion, but there we go. Still my favorite out of the bunch. However, previously I'd rated it 5 stars, which is way too high. So now I'm giving it 4.25 stars. I really liked it. Definitely still my favorite if I had to pick one. There's just something about Logan and Grace that does it for me. I don't know. I think they're adorable and I think they're really funny. The Score I was kind of apprehensive about because I didn't really like it the first time that I read it. Like I did, but like I wasn't obsessed with it. I actually liked it more than last time. So I guess it kind of doesn't stand true that I rated all of them lower than before, because it seems like it was only The Mistake that was rated lower. You know what? There were changes made in the ratings. I felt like Dean actually had a bit more substance than I remember. And then The Goal I had read for the first time. It wasn't a reread. I really enjoyed it. Tucker is definitely the best out of the bunch. He is so sweet, and I don't understand why I thought he was a goalie. I felt betrayed when I found out that he wasn't. All of them play hockey, by the way. I didn't mention that, but all of them play hockey. I thought he was the goalie the whole time. Ever since I started the series, like 3-4 years ago, I thought he was the goalie. He isn't. Imagine my surprise. It kind of dragged like the second half of the book, So it's not rated any higher than any of the other ones, but I really enjoyed the series anyways. And then another book from that finishing series video is The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater. Can I get a round of applause for finally finishing this series? Thank you. Thank you. Yes. I've been reading this since last year because I read The Raven Boys, gave it 5 stars, read the Dream Thieves like a month or two afterwards, gave it 4.75 stars, made a really big break, and read Blue Lily Lily Blue earlier this year, and I gave that one 4.5 stars. And then I finally read The Raven King in August, and I gave it 5 stars. The overall series, I would give 5 stars. Absolutely adore it. I feel like I talked about this book a lot in that vlog that I did, so I won't talk about it too much. I will just say that I absolutely adore these characters. I absolutely adore the ending. It did catch me off guard, like immediately after I read it, because it is kind of an open end. After I sat with it for a little bit and calmed down and came back from my high, really adore the ending. And my favorite characters are Ronan and Noah. Definitely some of my favorite books that I've ever read. Definitely a series that I'll probably be coming back to, and I cannot wait to start the new series because that's the first 2 books, which is the Dreamer trilogy, I think is what it's called, and Ronan is the main character in that one. So I'm super excited because, again, he was my favorite character in this series. And yes, I did cry at the end. Because when do I not cry at the ending of books, let alone this book? And then there was recently a new release by Liz Tomford called Play Along. I've read the first 2 books in the Windy City series, which is Mile High and The Right Move, and I really enjoyed those. I give the first one 4.75 stars. The Right Move was obviously 5 stars. So I hadn't read Caught Up yet. I don't know why I waited so long to read it, but I did. I felt like I wouldn't enjoy it as much, so I kept putting it off. But then Play Along came out, and everyone was talking about how much they loved the book. So I was like, okay, I need to read Caught Up so I can then read Play Along. Did I read Play Along? Have I read it yet? No. But did I read Caught Up? Yes, I did. And I absolutely loved it. And I'm so mad at myself that I waited so long because now they don't have the book at my bookstore. I can't own the book now. I mean, I can probably order it and stuff like that, but like it's just cheaper when I get it in my country when they have it, and I didn't get it when they did. I gave it 4.75 stars. I listened to it on audiobook. I knew I was gonna like the audiobook because I listened to Mile High on audiobook and I really liked that one. So I knew the execution was gonna be great in this one too. Did not disappoint. I loved how bantery and witty the 2 characters were. Let's see if I can remember their names. I know all of them start with an M, right? Malachi? Miller. If her name isn't Miller, it's gonna be really embarrassing. I'm filming on my phone, so I can't check. It's kind of the single dad trope, and she's supposed to nanny for just the summer, and then she's gonna go off, do her own thing, and stuff like that. I think the reason why I was apprehensive about reading it is because I don't like when there's like a deadline for something. So like, you know that right near the end of the book she's supposed to leave and stuff like that. So I didn't like that part, but I felt like it was actually executed pretty well. I absolutely adore the way that Liz Tomford writes. I don't know what it is about her writing that I love. Like, I can't pinpoint it, but I love it. I love the way that she writes her characters, the way that she writes her men. All of them are perfect book boyfriends. Like, I love all of them so much. And the last book that I read this month is actually a wild card because I was not expecting to read it this quickly and this soon, but I did. And it's One to Watch by Kate Stayman London. I gave this 4 stars. I listened to it on audiobook. I felt like the audiobook was actually really fun, and this whole book has a really fun concept. Our main character, B, is a fashion blogger, and she's plus sized, and there is this reality show that's really popular. It's kind of like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, and they've never had like a plus size contestant on the show and stuff like that, and they're just generally not very inclusive. The producers of the show reach out and they're like, hey, we want you to be the next contestant. And basically this whole entire book is written in episodes of the dating show, so it'll be like episode 1 and episode 2 and then stuff like that. That does mean that the chapters are obscenely long in this book, so I'm sorry to tell you that, but this book was super fun. I like the way that it was written, and the topics of her being plus size and stuff like that, and the conversations that they were having around that, really beautiful. Definitely related to some parts of this, which was a bit sad, obviously, because not a lot of the discussions on here are very nice to either listen to or think about and stuff like that, but I guess it just touched something in me, so I really did enjoy this book and I gave it 4 stars. I don't know why I can't give it a higher rating. It just feels like a 4-star read, so that's what I'm giving it, and I'm really not gonna overthink it. Those are all of the books that I read in August. I had an amazing reading month, considering June and July were not as good because I was in a reading slump. I hope you had an amazing reading month in August, and if you didn't, I'm hoping September will be better. So thank you so much for watching this video. You can like, comment, subscribe if you'd like, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.